Hi guys and welcome to my channel. So in this video I'm going to talk about my first experience with magic mushrooms, which was also one of my first psychedelic experiences. Disclaimer before we get into the actual trip report. This video is for educational and harm reduction purposes only, and I'm not telling you that this or any other substance is safe or legal. You are responsible for your actions. With this disclaimer out of the way, let's get into the actual trip report. So this trip happened more than 3 years ago, end of February of 2020, February 29th. So it's an easy date to remember. It was just a couple of weeks before everything got shut down, also here in my home country, Austria. I tripped together with a former co-worker of mine. We happened to work at the same gym at that time. He was a fun and interesting guy who was also into psychedelics. We got along well, and I was just getting started, started to becoming interested in psychedelics. And yeah, we talked a little bit and talked a little bit about psychedelics. And one day we decided to trip together. The trip happened at his apartment. I drove there. We hung out for a little bit, also smoked a little bit of weed, and then we ate the shrooms. I would guess that we ate like 3 grams each, so it wasn't like a huge or heroic dose. And I would say, like, after 45 to 50 minutes, I started to feel the psychedelic effects. Before I felt the psychedelic effects, I became very hungry and asked this guy, I become so hungry all of a sudden. Do you have something to eat? And this guy said, yeah, I have something to eat. And he told me that, like, the fact that I was becoming so hungry was a good sign that my body responds well to the shrooms. After like 45, 50 minutes, the trip started kicking in. And like I mentioned, we worked at the same gym at the time, and we also had to work on the front desk. And check in, check out customers, scheduling their training appointments, making new contracts, and so on. But we also had to deal with a lot of complaints of the customers. Stuff like certain machines not working, internet connection not working, and especially, showers, gym floors, and so on not being clean, which wasn't our fault because we had like an external cleaning company. But yeah, we were the ones that the customers went to complain. And yeah, it was not so nice to say the least. But during the trip, our coming up was pretty much at the same time. And we had like the same thought, or told the other one about this thought. And yeah, we started laughing hysterically and basically lying on the floor because we found it so funny, our customers, complaining about, small things and ridiculous things. And it was very funny. So this was like the start of the trip. The next thing I remember was like he had a relatively small flat, and I was sitting and he was standing up and always walking back and forth from one corner of his room to the other corner, and always doing something, preparing some food or preparing like a cigarette and talking. And for me, it was interesting because like the perspectives changed, like the height perspectives. Like one moment he seemed very, very small, like a dwarf compared to the ceiling. And like 1 minute later, he seemed like a giant with the top of his head almost reaching the ceiling. So, and it changed all the time. And after that, we went outside of his apartment. He was living in a quiet area of the town with not many people there, and there was nature, and forest near his area. And we walked a little bit near his apartment. There was nobody else there, and it was a moonlit night because it was full moon or close to it or after the full moon, so we could see our shadows. And I remember I saw my shadow silhouette, And for some reason, for me, it looked like the shadow of a vampire. And I said to him, "Hey, look at the shadow. Can you see my shadow? I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. Can you see the color? Can you see the color? I'm the real vampire." And for some reason, I was convinced to of being a vampire. After walking around for a little bit, we decided to go to the city center, go out to some bars, clubs, which probably isn't the best idea when you are tripping on shrooms or any other psychedelics for that matter. For us, nothing bad happened, but it's still not recommended. I would recommend if you're interested in tripping, interested in trying psychedelics, to do it, with people you know and people you trust, like maybe a couple of people maximum, and not go to like a bar or a crowded place with many people that you don't know around, because it can lead to a bad trip. For us, it still didn't lead to a bad trip, but still not recommended. So we took a taxi to the city center. During the taxi drive there, we, I think, managed to appear sober. So the taxi driver didn't notice us, that we were under the influence, so to speak. I noticed for me that I became very sensitive. And I remember this friend of mine made like a small remark, nothing, nothing special, just a small remark. But for some reason, I became like very sensitive and very angry at him, because I felt like he was attacking me for some reason, and I didn't want to speak with him for a short while at least. And he had to basically babysit me a little bit. So I was walking away from him, and he didn't feel the effects that strong as me. He was also more experienced, and he followed me. And two black guys approached him, and I think they wanted to, try to steal something from him, or doing some shady stuff. Like one guy talking to him while the other one grabs his wallet or something like that. I think that was their plan. And but he managed to basically tell them fuck off, fuck off, and leave me alone. And after that, we had like a reconciliation. And yeah, like I said, I was overly sensitive. After that, we went to a couple of different bars and pubs. And yeah, the funny thing was, because I was so overly sensitive, we went into one place, of course, crowded, because it was like a Friday or Saturday night. So, of course, many people there. And we were not even 1 minute inside of one of those pubs. And I said to him, "No, no, we can't stay here. We can't stay here. It's bad vibes here, bad vibes, bad energy." And walked out again and walked to the next bar, where it was the same. I think it was like two or three bars. I did the same thing, and at like the third or fourth bar, finally the energy was, the vibes were okay for me, and we ordered drinks there, and it was like a funny moment, because he said to me, "Ah, finally the vibes are not bad for you. Finally it's good vibes here, and finally we can have a drink." After that, we went outside again, and in the center of our hometown there's a river flowing through. And I remember we were standing near a bridge and basically overlooking the river. And yeah, overlooking it, it was a moonlit night, like I mentioned, so very, very bright. And I saw something glittering. I think it was just like the reflection of the water, but for some reason I found it extremely fascinating and interesting. And I said to him like, "Hey, look over there! Look over there! Do you see this thing glittering there? We have to check it out what it is." And went to the shore of the river, and it was just like, I think, reflection of light or something. That's also like a interesting thing when you're tripping on psychedelics or shrooms, that like small things that you wouldn't even notice when you're sober seem special or very interesting. The next thing, after that, we were sitting like on a bench and just talking. And like a guy walked by who was dressed like the stereotypical goth, like black, all black, black leather clothes, boots with higher heels and so on. And the coworker of mine said to me like, "Hey, look at this guy. This guy is a real vampire. This guy is a real vampire. Not you. You are not a real vampire." And I said to him like basically, "No, no, no. I am the real vampire. I am the real vampire. Look at my shadow. Look at my shadow. This guy, he has to dress up. He's just a poser, but I'm the real vampire," which was hilarious. Um, After that, we went to another club, and at that time it was already quite late, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and like people were leaving, and yeah, it was not that much crowded anymore. But we were just like sitting there, and like they had like of course music and disco lights, and they had like the patterns of light on the wall. And for some reason, also the patterns seemed extremely interesting for me, and I was fascinated. Like when you're going out and just drinking alcohol and not any psychedelics, you wouldn't even notice disco lights or patterns like this. But under the influence of the mushrooms, it was extremely fascinating. And it was also like the feeling was a feeling of extreme bliss, being satisfied with just sitting there having a beer or a drink and just looking at those fascinating patterns. It seems trivial when you are sober, but it was like a moment of pure bliss and pure happiness when you are tripping. After that, we decided to leave and go back to his flat, and we went to a taxi stand. And for some reason, the simple task of just actually getting inside of a taxi seemed like a huge feat, a huge task for me. So it was like I said to him, maybe we can do it. Maybe if we try it, we can actually do it. We can actually get inside of the taxi. If the stars align perfectly. And yeah, I think I walked around the taxi a couple of times, and then we finally went in. And I remember it was like a female taxi driver. She was a little bit on the older side, maybe 50, 55, older lady. And yeah, she definitely noticed us tripping and asked us, "Are you guys on something? Are you guys tripping?" And we said, like, of course, tripping balls. And we said to her, "No, no, no, we are not tripping. We are not tripping." And of course, it was very noticeable. Yeah, she drove us back to his place. And on the way there, I noticed again that I was extremely sensitive, because this female taxi driver also had made like a little remark. I don't even remember what it was, but for some reason I again became angry and felt attacked, and told her like, you're so impolite, you're so unfriendly, we don't need you, let us get out of the taxi here, we get another taxi, we don't need you, we don't need you." But the guy I was tripping with could convince me to stay calm. And yeah, we drove back to his place, and like the trip was sort of winding down, and we went to bed, and yeah, slept for a couple of hours, maybe for like 5 hours, 6 hours or something. Yeah. In the morning, we went to a cafe to grab a coffee, and after that we went to a steakhouse to have lunch there. And during the trip, during the visit trip to the cafe and the steakhouse, I felt sober again. So I didn't feel that I was tripping anymore. Just talked with him and already reflecting on the trip. But when we walked back to his apartment, it was maybe like 20 or 25 minutes walking because he lived a little bit outside of the center. Uh, then I felt like sort of an afterglow of the trip. So it was a sunny day with blue sky and the sun was out. And for me, everything seemed more, brighter. Everything seemed more colorful. So like the blue sky seemed more blue, and the sun seemed more brighter, more sunny. The trees and the nature, they seemed more brighter, more green. And it was again a moment of pure happiness, similar to in the club. Um, and I also became, very childish again in the afterglow, and I said to him like, "Hey, you see that tree over there? Let's climb up the tree. Let's climb up the tree." Like a kid. Yeah, so that was basically it. Then we went back to his place, to his apartment. But yeah, then the trip was really coming, or the afterglow was really coming to an end, and I didn't feel any effects anymore. Hung around maybe for 1 hour or 1.5 hours more, talked with him a little bit, already, talking about what we experienced during the trip. Yeah, and then I drove home, felt completely sober again. Yeah, so that's basically it. That was my first experience with magic mushrooms. I hope you like this video. If you like it, like, comment, share, subscribe. Yeah, stay tuned for more videos. My next video will probably be about my ayahuasca trip, which happened in the fall of last year. Yeah, there will be trip reports, so I'm interested in psychedelics, but I'm also into powerlifting, sports, also into hiking, travel. So stay tuned for more videos. I hope you like this video, like my channel. If you like it, yeah, give me a like, share it with friends, comment something, maybe ask questions, tell me what you want to see next. Yeah, thank you for tuning in and see you soon.